इतना सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good afternoon, everyone, to the beautiful afternoon of Saturday. Franchise India, the brand is Asia's largest integrated franchise solution brand, which was established in 1999. We sell, no one sells more business than us. We truly claim this because we have facts and figures to prove about it. We have helped more than 4,000 international and national brands in their franchise expansion through our platform. And we have helped more than 40,000 investors in getting the right brand from us. We welcome you to 170th edition of Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series, an initiative which we took almost 7 months back, and we try to represent 175 plus brands to you. We invite and welcome management team of Franchise India, Mr. Gaurav Maria, along with our second panel member, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary. During the course of the webinar, they'll be taking your queries. Ones will complete the correct understanding from brand side as far as their franchise model is concerned. The brand which we are presenting today comes from wellness and health sector. Glands Clinic is the brand of the day. Based in Mumbai, Glands Clinic is a specialty clinic offering comprehensive care for all your diabetes, thyroid, and other lifestyle disorder. And it is our privilege and to welcome founder Dr. Kulkarni, who will talk about this particular brand. He's a renowned doctor. Over the decades, he has consulted and treated patients internationally and nationally. He has experience of 25 plus years of experience in practice. Thank you so much, Dr. Kulkarni, for joining in today. We are ready for your presentation. Over to you, sir.
Dr. Kulkarni, need to unmute. You're on mute.
Yeah. So a very good morning again, and feeling very privileged and my pleasure to be part of this presentation today. And thanks to Franchise India for giving me this opportunity. And thank you again for the kind introduction. And let me begin by introducing myself. Since the brand is all about my years of work and experience, let me talk a little bit about myself. So I am Dr. Sudhindra Kulkarni. I am based out of Mumbai. I was born and brought up in Mumbai. I had my education, school, college in Mumbai. I passed my MBBS from Nair Hospital, MD Medicine from Grand Medical College, JJ Hospital, a very renowned institute, 150 years old, as well as my DM. Again, I did from Nair Hospital. And after passing, I have worked in many specialty hospitals. Initially, I was at Hinduja Hospital for a few years, and then I went abroad, and I got very good experience over there, exposure to international patients. And then I decided to come back to India and start my journey here. So my wife is also a dentist, and I have a daughter who is presently pursuing her medicine course. She's in the last year of medicine, MBBS, and is due for her final exams. And I have a son who is in the 9th standard. So on this background, let me start off by saying that Glands Clinic is based out of Mumbai, and the idea of Glands Clinic started in my with my experience over the last so many years. So I had been working in the specialty hospitals, super specialty hospitals for a long time, and was seeing a lot of diabetic patients, thyroid patients. But I felt that somewhere the care of these patients was not happening as per my expectation, and that is how the idea of Glands Clinic came about. So just a brief point, because I think some of these words may not be very well known to all of you. So endocrinology is one branch of medicine which deals with hormonal problems. So it's a relatively new branch, and of course it was very in very new stages when I took my degree. But over the period of time, things have evolved, and the problems or diseases which we manage or cover are specifically diabetes, thyroid, obesity, PCOD, osteoporosis, and a host of other endocrine-related conditions. And I would like to emphasize here that the major chunk of patients which we see are the diabetes patients. So if you ask me, maybe 60 to 70% is diabetes patients, 20 to 30% would be thyroid patients. Obesity is increasing in proportion in the Indian population, although it is very common in the Western world. But at least in the urban centers, obesity is increasing by leaps and bounds. So again, a large chunk of patients there. PCOD again is a common problem affecting almost 5% of the population. And with the aging population comes osteoporosis. And many other problems like growth disorders, patients seeking height increase, patients having sexual problems, infertility, what we call as pituitary problems, adrenal problems, so on and so forth. So diabetes being the major portion of this practice, most of the strategies which we have devised are around prevention and treatment and management of diabetic patients. So we have our Glands Clinic, which is backed by strong capabilities for defining the treatments. So again, the treatment of diabetes has evolved a lot. So when I was doing my DM in 1995, the management of diabetes was very primitive. The treatment options were very limited. But in the last so many years, the treatment strategies have evolved so much, and it is difficult for many of the general doctors to keep track of all these treatments. So at Glands Clinic, we are updated on the knowledge and information about newer treatments, And that is what we offer to our patients. We offer a range of therapies based on our experience. So I have been part of many of the panels, education panels, as well as CMEs, what we call continuous medical education. We have a lot of conferences which I attend on a regular basis. That gives me knowledge, as well as helps me to update my infrastructure. So medicine has evolved over a period of time, and now we are in a technology era where those days of the doctor telling the patient that this is your problem and this is the medication has kind of gone. So technology plays a big role, and most of the patients who come to our clinics seek a lot of advice apart from, or they look for many options apart from just consultation. So you need a laboratory backup, which will give them blood reports. We need radiology services, and specifically talking about endocrinology, DEXA scan for osteoporosis, nuclear scan. So all of these we have tied up, and of course we have some of the facilities at our clinic also, which helps to cater to the patient's need to arrive at the right diagnosis and offer them the right treatment. And of course, any business or any practice requires a teamwork. So we have a highly qualified team. So again, one of the challenges in the medical fraternity is getting the right kind of qualified person. So it is a very highly demanding branch where you need very qualified, experienced people. So we have experienced doctors on our panel. We have backup technicians who are there, as well as we have a marketing team for our clinic. And all of this has helped us to get a good number of patients from India and abroad. So to lay out the mission and vision for Glands Clinic, I'll just read out so that it is pretty clear. So our vision is to become India's destination for complete care for diabetes, thyroid, obesity, PCOD, osteoporosis, and other endocrine disorders. And our main focus, as I said, is on diabetes. So to prevent diabetes, lay out strategies for prevention and also manage its complications by educating the patients through health promotion, use the digital media, training of the staff to get updated about all of these problems, as well as use the latest treatment modalities which are available, and also carry out research to better understand the problems faced by patients. The vision is to have the vision of Glands Clinic is to serve as a catalyst in the treatment and education of our diabetic patients, thyroid patients, the obesity problems, PCOD, osteoporosis, and other endocrine disorders. So we wish to be particularly sensitive to the unique needs of all our patients affected by diabetes in India and beyond. And Glands Clinic will address the whole person, the family, and the community, and not just the disease. So it will be some kind of a holistic approach with a compassionate, viewpoint. It will encompass health, not just medicine, and will target outcomes. So we are looking at better quality of life for our patients. So now coming to the the problem, the magnitude of the problem. I'm sure diabetes and the understanding of diabetes has increased a lot, and most of the families in India more or less would have one diabetic patient in their household. and that is supported by all of this data which is in front of us. So according to the Indian Diabetic Federation, the prevalence of diabetes in the population is 8.9%, and maybe in the urban centers it is much more. And with India, rapidly progressing economically, the prevalence is going to increase, and that is what is the projection. So if you look at the world figures, 463 million people, 46.3 crores out of the 7 billion people have diabetes. Southeast Asia, 88 million, and in India, 77 million. So 7.7 crores of the population, almost more than 5%, would be having diabetes. And as I said, in the urban centers, the numbers would be much more. And this is the kind of projection of figures, or rather the past and the present. 26 million in 1990, 65 million in 2016, and 77 million. And it's going to increase, and the projection is 85 or 90 million by 2030. So the challenge is upon us, all of us who are in the field of management of diabetic patients, to deliver the best of care, and also the patients who would be seeking the best of advice. So the distribution of diabetic patients, or the prevalence, as per the regions or states of India, is what we are seeing now. A lot of diabetic patients in the southern part of India and a bit in the northern parts of India. Fairly moderate amount of patients in the middle part of India, but I'm sure this figure is going to increase with the way the economy is progressing and the affordability is increasing and the change in the lifestyle of patients. So again, the Glands clinic, as I said, the idea was brought about by this fact that even the incidence of diabetes in, if I can give you the example of Mumbai and region around Mumbai, all of you understand that Mumbai is a very big city, and there are a lot of extended suburbs and far off suburbs. So what we are getting information is that if you look at areas 100 kilometers from Mumbai, even there the amount of diabetic patients is exploding by leaps and bounds. And these are areas where it is very difficult to even find qualified doctors, MBBS doctors or MD doctors, and patients are not able to reach the right kind of or get the right kind of treatment. So there is a lot of unmet needs as far as the diabetic patients is concerned in and around metro cities. So I'm sure in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, the situation might be really them and share our experiences to benefit the affected population. So as I said, endocrine disorders, there are a host of them, and some of them are enumerated here. If you allow me, I can just spend a few minutes about the endocrine glands in the body. So there is the main organ, which is called as the pituitary gland, which is there in the brain. And then there is the thyroid gland, which is there in the neck. Then there is the pancreas, which is there in the stomach, the testes, the ovaries, and many other glands which are there, the adrenal glands, the parathyroid glands. Affection of all of these lead to what are called as endocrine problems. So alphabetically, they have enumerated, or we have enumerated here, the various diseases which can arise out of all endocrine disorders. So as I said earlier, diabetes remains the most common problem. Within the diabetes, we have a lot of subheadings: type 1, type 2, gestational diabetes, so on and so forth. Thyroid problems have also increased a lot in the last few decades. And although thyroid problems seem to be very easy to manage, that may not be so, and patients do require a lot of specialized care. Again, obesity remains a very important and ever-increasing problem. Childhood obesity is a big problem, even adult obesity. So in India, the incidence or prevalence may be around 10 to 20% compared to the Western countries where it is 30, 40 or 50%. And obesity is a big risk for development of diabetes, hypertension, and other metabolic problems. Pituitary problems are also pretty common. One of the commonest problems which we are seeing nowadays is vitamin D deficiency, bone disorders, as well as osteoporosis, polycystic ovarian disease, which occurs in young girls, teenage girls, girls up to age of 20, 25, also is becoming pretty common, extent of 5 to 10% of all the adolescent population. And this is a challenge for the patient as well as the parents, because these are all productive years of the child's life and affects them a lot. And we've seen that care for such patients, again, there is a lot that can be done. So through Glands Clinic, we have been trying to help out these patients, and we've got a lot of good feedback and satisfaction from our patients. In fact, when I was doing my DM in Nair Hospital, I had done a research project on PCOD, and that has helped me to understand the disease and helped me in my practice all along. So these are all the disorders which we will be or which we are managing at present, and I'm sure all of you will also be getting patients of similar nature. And of course, we need a lot of support from other diagnostic areas which are available now in most of the cities. So the Glands Clinic concept, which we initiated, and after receiving a great response and immense appreciation from the patients, we thought that this should become a franchisee model for further expansion. As I said, my aim is that each and every diabetic patient should be benefiting from my knowledge and experience. And it is impossible for me personally to reach out to each and every patient. So the franchisee model will be one of the routes by which we will be able to percolate the experience and expertise to our patients. So currently the brand is inviting franchisee partners for its clinic, laboratory hub, and the collection centers. The laboratory model is available through the franchisee-owned franchise company-operated format. And the good thing is that it will be a revenue sharing option without any royalty, and the spoke model will also be there for this with a collection center which can be there in the clinic, and this will be a FOFO format with incredible ROIs. So the formats are there. I'll show it to you. So these are lucrative formats. We've kept it very affordable, so that as I said, we reach out to the maximum number of patients with the minimum cost burden to them. So medium to low investment opportunity and extensive brand support is what I can assure you from my side. And Franchise India has been kind enough to help out with all of this and help me to connect with you and to help out all the patients. So again, a small word, the occupation of medical profession, apart from giving you financial independence and benefits, also gives you a lot of mental satisfaction. So many of our patients are kind enough to acknowledge our goodness, all our treatment, and they appreciate. So some feedbacks we have received from patients is that because of your treatment we have been able to live, at least 10 years more than what we would expect. All of your treatment has helped us to, have a better family life. Many patients have who could never have conceived or never thought of, raising a family. They have been able to do that. So we have been able to touch many patients' lives positively. So this is the financials of the franchise model. I'll just give a brief view. And as I said, we want to offer the integrated model, clinic, pathology, and pharmacy. So we are looking at a setup, what we call as all services under one roof. So when a patient comes to us, he gets everything done. He doesn't have to run around, and he'll get a consultation, he'll get blood tests, he'll get his medicines, all under one roof. And that saves him time, energy, and money. So this is the kind of total investment which we are looking at, and the franchisee fees which are there. Definitely we'll be expecting some royalty, but there won't be any revenue sharing. And annual ROI, as you can see, is 105%, and a very short, payback time of 1 year, 9 months. So as I said, there are a lot of diabetic patients and thyroid patients, and if we are able to, provide the right kind of services as we are being offering now, we are going to definitely get loyalty from these patients. And these patients are, long-term patients. So diabetes is a long-term problem which requires continuous care. And once a patient enrolls, usually he likes to continue, and that is what is the basis of this clinic format. So we also are looking at a laboratory hub, FOCO, as well as a collection center, which will act as a spoke. So this will be a little bigger area of 2,000 square feet, and the collection center would be a smaller place where the blood samples will be collected and sent to the lab. This is the kind of total investment which we are looking at, and franchisee fees, etc. And the payback time here is around 2 years, 8 months. And for the collection center, it is much faster, 11 months. So the investments, if you look at, are minimum in the collection center, as well as the integrated model of the clinic. We have tried to scale down the investment to the bare minimum, and also kept the franchisee fee to the minimum. The lab model or FOCO model requires, it's a little investment intensive, because you need very specialized instruments which can deliver, quality results. So this would be a one-time investment, but I'm sure this is what is the need of the hour. I'm sure you might be well versed with many of the laboratories, the chain of labs which are there, like Metropolis, Thyrocare, Dr. Lal's Path Lab. And many of our patients we've seen are pretty much interested, or they go or opt for these options. And if it is a integrated or if it is a comprehensive lab, I think it will pay off in a very much shorter time. So having packages of that sort which will cater to the thyroid and diabetic patients will make it easy, and also help in keeping the loyalty of our patients. So these are some of the points which we would like to propose as reasons to partner with us. So we'll help you to set up the clinic. The brand shall help you very much in choosing the best location, and also in design of the outlet. The franchisor shall support in the procurement of supplies and essentials. As I said, we've been in this field for the last quarter of century. 25 years of experience has helped me to connect with many people, and most of the things that are required are very much on the back of my hand. So we should not have problems getting the right supply. And of course, the product innovation, etc., which is going to be there, is definitely going to be part of the franchisee model. as I said, medical field and medical lab facilities are a ever evolving kind of a field, and a lot of innovation, the product innovation, etc., has happened in the last few years, and I try to remain updated with them on a regular basis, and I'm sure you will benefit from all the information that I gather. As I said, the training part is very important. This whole thing being a little specialized thing, we need to keep training staff on the continuous basis. So I have devised a strategy whereby we'll be training our staff, support staff, on a regular basis. That is my assurance, as well as keeping educating the patients. So engagement of the patients also will be there on a continuous basis through digital media. I think that is what is the flavor of the times in this present situation. So digital media is going to play a very big role, apart from other things, also in marketing. So presently we do have a lot of digital presence. We have a dedicated team who's doing digital marketing for us, apart from field marketing. And we going ahead, we are going to be more aggressive. Unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, we had to slow down. But I'm sure in the days ahead, we are going to be seen more often on the digital front. So the support for our franchisees is going to be technical and operational guidelines to set up the franchisee. We've already outlined all of this, and we'll share it with you as per your interest. And of course, the operating interface for daily operative assistance. So we'll always be there for you 24/7 for any of your needs. I understand that this is a very highly specialized kind of franchisee. So be assured that we'll be there to help you out at every step, even in the times going ahead. And the strategic inputs will be there as far as patient management is concerned, infrastructure upgradation is concerned, as well as staff recruitment, etc., is concerned. And as I said, we are going to use the digital media. So marketing there, brand management is going to be there, vendor management is going to be there, operation guidance with the operating manuals. We are in the process of upgrading our SOPs. So we'll share it with you so that you can give it to your staff who can follow these guidelines, so that we have some uniformity and we are able to deliver better care to our patients. And all of this will be on the background of a very professional environment. I have been always working in very big setups with teams, etc. So be assured that all my experience is going to be in a very professional manner. And all of these would be, with proper consultations for smoother operations. And of course, we'll offer all of this with attractive returns on your investments, again, as we have seen. And there would be a continuous brand building and promotional support from us. So with this, I end my talk, and I'm open to questions. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni. It was a very nice and very elaborate presentation, and we all know the credibility you enjoy today and the kind of work you've done. So we are congratulations and and appreciation for the work you've done. And now it's rightfully you're saying that you cannot go everywhere, because your patient demand is such a high, and India being all the three areas which you are specialized on, diabetics, thyroid, and obesity. I think India is one of the biggest growing markets, and the problem is much wider than it looks. So to address that problem, now you've actually taken to share your journey, and it is very difficult because I have seen in healthcare it's very sensitive because you carry a lot of reputation risk, a lot of other things. So after a very long consideration, now you have actually decided to really open up and share your your learnings over the years with other people who can benefit from it. And more importantly, I think the larger benefit would be the patients who would be able to really take services from your clinic everywhere. So just to summarize, there are three models which we are talking about. One is a clinic, pathology, and pharmacy as one unit, which is about 1,000 to 1,500 kind of a model. Then we have a full laboratory setup, which would be a FOCO. The first one is FOFO, which is franchisee owned, franchisee operated. The second one is the FOCO, where the lab would be completely managed by the doctor and team, and you would just be investor in that business. And third is the collection points, which are 200 only square feet and 6 lakh rupees investment. The middle one, the laboratory is 1.5 5.55 1.55 CR, which is 1 crore 50 lakh 55 lakhs as an investment. So I will start with little understanding of the three models, because a lot of people are non-healthcare. The first question really is, whenever we started, I mean, I started working with the first clinics of franchising way back in 2003 with Apollo, when Dr. Reddy actually told me that, that the idea for Apollo to start these smaller clinics was that whenever a person was diagnosed actually and recommended to a hospital, he used to feel overwhelmed that he's got some serious disease. And the issue was with the general practitioners was that they didn't have any ability to diagnose. So fundamentally, so he wanted to create something in between, which is polyclinics. And it was his idea 2003 when Apollo, Dr. Reddy himself said that, look, create a model, and Franchise India worked on that model and created, and then the clinics were opened everywhere. So we like to understand specialty clinic is a very, very big area. So let's start with the first model, doctor, which is the clinic, pathology and pharmacy. What is the structure of that, and how much revenue we think the three of them would contribute? And when we start a clinic in any place, it's always conversion of patient, because patient is going somewhere, and how we move those patients and what is the life cycle of patient to come in. That's one. Second, when the pharmacy we really bring in, are we only dependent on the captive patients which come in and use all services, or we open to larger audience also? So any viewpoint on the first model, and then we'll go all three models quickly so that people are able to understand. And a lot of people who are non-healthcare would like a little bit deeper, that is it right for them to also come in? Because the first question people ask when they want to really invest in healthcare is that non-medico can really come in this business. So that also we would like to start with.
Yeah. Thank you, Gauravji, for your appreciation. And I think all of these points are very valid. So in fact, the Apollo clinics, when in my beginning of my career, actually I had the opportunity to work there and also meet Dr. Reddy, thorough gentleman. And I think I was impressed by that model also. So yeah, I think this point is very valid. Sometimes, patients are little wary of going to big hospitals for relatively small problems. So, and that is what I feel is the idea behind, Glands Clinic. Many of our patients are scared to go to hospitals because of the stigma that, they've developed some big problems. And, in the society, always there is that fear of getting, stigmatized. So this clinic is going to be some kind of a place where they can seek the best of the treatments which is available in the super specialty hospitals without, going through all that process. So that is one of the things which is there. Coming to the model, the clinic model is going to offer consultation services, that is the doctor services, which is there. It is going to offer pathology services, blood tests, all kinds of blood tests, and also the pharmacy. So talking about the patient flow, so we are living in very different times. If you had asked me this question 10, 20 years back, everything would go by references, and patients would ask their friends, relatives who would be the best doctor, etc. But today we are living in a digital world, and what we have seen is digital media is playing a big role in influencing the patient's preferences. So even as far as choice of doctors is concerned, we've seen that almost 30-40% of our patients who come to our clinic come via the digital route. They make searches, they look at the profile of the doctors as well as many other things, the setup, etc. And that is one way which is going to help us to get patients numbers. Of course, apart from that, we are going to be connecting with the local doctors. We can also, or we are also, connecting with our local patients by conducting camps, education programs, and that is what we have been doing in our clinics, and doing what is called as corporate social CSR activities, engaging with the local, corporate uh, people. So all of this is going to add to the patient numbers, is what I feel in the long run. And as I said, the sheer number of diabetic patients is huge. And we've seen that at least in the city of Bombay, still a lot of patients are looking for better options. And I'm sure that is going to help. So, with this franchisee model, we are going to offer a comprehensive kind of services all under one roof, and that too at an affordable cost.
Absolutely. And healthcare specifically, because they work on creating what I call the community initiatives. And if you do community initiatives, then I think slowly you build your reference base. And once you have a reference base, then patients would start using for different services. And most of these diseases are chronical. So this means that they would need to continue to come back in different sittings and like that. So India, particularly for diabetes, I think there is a huge demand which is unaddressed. And and we worked on a preventive healthcare for diagnostic for a diabetes clinics, and we saw a huge demand which came in, because even on a preventive side they were not able to, because they were not doing curative. So overall I think there is very very large demand set. So let's now go to the next model, doctor, and talk about the lab. And because lab you're going to be also operating yourself, and this would also create clusters, because wherever our lab would come, then we'll also create a spokes, a hub and spoke model where our collection points would also come. So our lab, which we want to do, any particular locations you have in mind? Because while there is a additional responsibility with you to really manage it also, but which are the 4 or 5 or 6 markets which you would see that immediate focus area for you to look at those labs to come in? Dr. Kulkarni, you can hear us? I think we have some network issue with Dr. Kulkarni. So, friends, so this is a lab which is very rare. I mean, we get a lot of inquiries for people who come to us for a FOCO investment, especially for healthcare, and very few options are available. Very, very few options. And if there are options, also very credible options are not there. So it's a great opportunity today we have that if you want to set up your lab, which is a very long-term business model, and you get a good revenue share, about 35% of a revenue share which you get from this, and good return investment is a very long term period. So we'll wait for doctor to really join back. I think he had some internet issue which he would do that. And if you can also set up something where you can create a cluster where you can put a good lab, and then later around that a lot of collection points can come. And a collection point opportunity is only 6 lakh rupees. It's a very low cost opportunity. So today in our webinar, we are giving a full spectrum of healthcare opportunity, from running specialty clinics to running a lab, and also to do a collection point. And Dr. Kulkarni himself is a very, very renowned and very experienced doctor, and he comes with a very strong reputation and structure. So I will maybe like to invite Sonia at this stage. Sonia, if you want to put your remarks by the time the doctor really comes in on the opportunity, and we can then start also picking up as he comes back some of the questions from audience. And friends, please go out and write your city and the format you're interested on, because in past also when we offer 3 formats which have a diverse investment range from 6 lakhs to 1.5 crores, so it can be very difficult for us to understand. There's a lot of leads actually not able to manage well. And please write what you want to do and which kind of format you want to do and which city you want to be interested on.
I think we have Dr. Kulkarni back with us.
Yes, Dr. I think we lost you in between. You're on a mute. Can
I'm
you?
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's all right.
Yeah.
So I was saying on the lab side, which cities would be priority for you? What cities which you feel, because you going to be additional responsibility with you to manage it. So what cities you have in mind, and what regions you want to have in mind for the first 4 5, so that can become a focus.
So since I'm based out of Mumbai, and Mumbai being such a huge market, I thought that first of all we can possibly look at Mumbai and the surrounding areas of Mumbai like Pune, Nasik, maybe a little bit beyond Nasik, beyond Pune, maybe Kolhapur and Belgaum. So I think this would be a very good geography initially to begin with. And that could be manageable to a very large extent. So Mumbai also, almost a population of 2.5 crores. I think there is enough potential for us to cater to a lot of our patients.
Absolutely, and we can pick up some bigger suburbs. We can do Thane one, New Bombay one. Maybe Powai is a very good market, very now big happening. Then we can do other suburbs of Bombay. So Mumbai itself is an opportunity to do about 7 to 8 immediate labs with a population of 2 crores. And there are some markets which have a very large neighborhoods being newly developed, and these have very less healthcare penetration, and that's creates an opportunity for you. So if you are in Mumbai or even in neighborhood where management can be done, so you can really apply for doing a FOCO and some other cities also. And some of the opportunities also can be where you can want to really do a full cluster in a particular city with one lab and putting up some kind of a collection points around it. And then now let's go to the last model, which is the collection point model. It would be in specific places where we can do a feeder. Which are the markets which we want to be immediately starting with the collection point, doctor?
Yeah, so again, I think many of our lab chains have such a kind of a model, to be very frank. And again, as I said, specialized tests require a lot of investment. And I think the biggest challenge in healthcare is manpower. You're not able to get, sufficiently trained and qualified manpower. So collection centers would help in that sense. So again, Mumbai, Pune, I think Nasik, the far off suburbs, I think these could be places where you can actually have collection centers. Even in our integrated clinic model, if somebody doesn't want to set up his own lab, they can have that collection center kind of, which will cater to their patients' needs.
Yeah, and this can be also an opportunity if somebody comes from one particular city. You come from Surat and say, I would set up a lab and also set up the collection bin. You can really do a full integrated healthcare capabilities. And so, Doctor, I'll have one more question and then I'll pass it on to Sonia to take that. There are two brands which we have. One is I think Glands Clinic, and second brand is you. I think you are a much bigger brand. So everybody wants to really reach out to you. And so how much you would be be able to devote your time, because actually in the healthcare and any kind of a professional advice, and especially in healthcare, I've realized that the best is really the best. Everybody wants to go there, so people don't want the second best. Would you also maybe make trips to these clinics to just overlook some of the entire thing and also to handhold, because it's also methodology. While we know that healthcare is a very scientific, clinically proven practice, but we also know that experience counts here. So your experience and your years of learning and being a part of this, particularly in the diabetics, and I think you now authority. So would you be also putting some time taking out of your current practice to be part of these clinics?
Yeah, I think it's a fair point, and I totally agree. Time is always scarce, But be assured, I can assure all our potential franchisees that I have, taken out enough time. So in fact, I would be dedicating at least 4 to 6 hours of my day. Of course, otherwise we'll always be available. For 4 to 6 hours of the day, prime time will be dedicated to our franchisee members. That is my assurance, and all our experience and expertise without any hold. So as I said, they're at the center of everything. So somebody had said it very well, all hospitals and clinics is all about patients and doctors. So without both of these, nothing is going to work. So our whole focus is going to be, connecting patients and doctors and delivering the best of services to bring about the best outcomes. So be assured from my side that I can, or I will, give you the best of time and efforts.
Yes, absolutely. So we know that you are more committed than anybody else, and not necessarily for just to build the business and your healthcare practice, but more importantly, your commitment towards the patients is almost the highest priority, and that's something which drives you. So over to you, Sonia, for your comments and few questions from the audience.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kulkarni. I'll come straight on some of the questions we have from our participants. Since we've talked about three models, one being lab, the other is an integrated clinic, and third being a collection center. And since lab would be a FOCO model run by the company, can you give some insights on the typical revenue which can come out of these formats on an average, maybe annualized, and how long does it take for somebody to reach that optimum level, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, typically how much would that time be?
Yeah, so if you talk about the integrated clinic model, I think we are looking at an investment of around 40 lakhs, including the royalty, etc. And we're looking at a payback time of 1.5 to 2 years. So as I said, the volume of patients is expected to be pretty high. So if we are able to put things together and everything works out well, the staff is able to manage, I think the break even should be much faster. So revenues are going to be good. Break even is going to be 1.5 to 2 years. And the good thing about the integrated clinic model is that there are many avenues to generate revenue, apart from just the consultation of the patient. Pharmacy is going to pay, pathology is going to pay, and going ahead, we can do many other activities, especially education, research.
Sure. And Dr. Kulkarni, since we talk about various revenue streams, and if I pick consultation, packages, and pharma, these are three streams through which the revenue from a center would come. And typically, what are the margins across these three streams? One, and what is the ideal revenue mix? For example, if I'm doing 10 lakhs from a center, typically how much of that would come from consultation, how much would come from packages, and how much of that would be pharma, and margins across these three categories?
Yeah, so one of the things which is going to be a little challenging is getting the right doctors, the specialized doctors, and when you're going to use their services, you need to pay a little bit of a premium. So in the present times, we have learned one new thing is that there is something called as telemedicine, and this is helping our patients a lot. Even I have been practicing. So that is one way of economizing. So many of our clinics can actually engage local, specialist doctors who can cater to these needs, which will be kind of, adding or reducing the margins. So I think around most of the consultations would give 30-35% margins. Even the pathology will give you that much. And pharma is something which is going to give you good amount of margins. I think around 35-40%. And as I said, maybe research and other things, activities going ahead also would add to that.
Okay. Great, very helpful, Dr. Kulkarni. Another question which I wanted to pick up, because you talked about the doctors, consultation at the outlets. Who would be responsible for getting these doctors at the centers? Will it be responsibility of the franchisee to source them, or will the company or your team will also help them to bring these doctors at the center?
So to be very frank, I would be very happy if the franchisee can do it by themselves through the local. But definitely we are going to be there. And if there are any problems faced by them, we'll do it for them. So we will also help out, surely.
Now I'll take up one question we have. In fact, Mr. Vikram, he's keen for in Maharashtra. He's mentioned locations which is Dombivli, Thane, and will you be keen to put up? He's asked combination of both lab and clinic. And since you already run a lab in Bombay, will it be possible to set up more labs in the city or around the city? And can this combination work within Bombay as well?
Yeah, I think so. What? Then I think this is going to be very much workable. So as I said, Bombay is a huge market, which is still not very catered to. What I feel the shortcomings are is that patients, all of our diabetic patients are type A personalities. They are very busy amongst their own work and their life, and going to a doctor, getting a consultation, blood tests, all of these are time consuming. So helping them out by various innovative means, like doing home collections, delivering reports online, doing teleconsultation, all of these are going to help to improve their quality of life. So Bombay itself, I feel still there is a lot of vacuum in this part, and especially related to, so most of the present kind of lab chains, if we are able to position ourselves as catering something to the diabetes population, I think we'll have a niche segment to cater to, which has high volume as well as high price section. So I think that is something which needs to be kept in mind.
Sure, sure, doctor. And I will also pick some cities. So we have Mr. Abhijit Kulkarni. He wants to know if Hyderabad is a possibility of setting up in the next few months. I think he's looking at a time frame of 3 to 6 months to set up. This is one city, and I will pick maybe a couple of cities together. And if you can just suggest if these cities are open for all these three formats. And then we have Vibhor from Aligarh, that being a tier 2 city, saying if in a location like this is suitable to set up a center. We have Salim from Ahmedabad, and a few other locations which I'm seeing are Ahmedabad and Hyderabad, and a lot of other locations across north also. So is that okay for us to go all across, or you would still prioritize the locations where you want to enter? And since we understand lab would be a priority for you, or should we even go ahead doing a clinic? Or do we need to have a lab before we have clinics coming in?
Yeah. I think that's a great point, that labs and clinics are going to be supportive of each other, actually. So ideally, it would be that you should have a lab which would cater to all the clinics. And of course, the geography is always a challenge. So to begin with, we thought that we would be more focusing on the western region. And I think Ahmedabad is very much on our radar. And most of western Maharashtra is there. A little bit of northern Karnataka is there. I think UP and Hyderabad, I'm sure we'll try to consider at the earliest. Thank you very much for showing your interest, and we'll definitely work on it.
Sure. Doctor, one last question which I like to take. I see one of our viewers also commenting. What is the average fee that we charge the patients for consultation, and also for the packages, and how long do these packages last? Typically, if a patient comes in, how long will he continue to take these packages?
Yeah, so if you talk about the consulting fees, it would be varying depending on the cities which we would be operating in. So if you talk about tier 1 cities, the consulting charges can be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 per visit. If it is a tier 2 city, maybe a little lesser. So maybe 500 or 800 per visit, and maybe in the tier 3 cities much lesser. But I think what we need to focus on, and I think that is what is required for the diabetes and thyroid patients, is some kind of a package, which helps in many ways. It helps to control the cost for the patient, as well as makes him aware that this is a disease which actually requires continuous care. And of course, also it brings about loyalty for our brand, as well as helps us in the revenue flow, etc. But I think what we need to make the patient realize is that continuous care is going to help him and pay him in the long run.
Okay. I also see, I think Mr. Vikram has again come, how the collection of samples is collected in the lab will be picked up, and the future management of the same, and who will manage this, especially a city like Bombay where you're already running a lab. So that support will come from the company. Is that right?
Yeah. So we'll have a whole set of logistics which will be there. We'll have the collection boys who will go and collect it from the main, the collection centers, deliver it, the labs, etc. And we'll have the digital media where the reports would be dispatched within a very short dose. So we are looking at a very small turnaround time, and I'm sure by it should not be more than 24 hours for most of the routine tests. So logistics should not be a problem. I think we already have it in place. Yeah.
All right. I think okay. So what we can do, Doctor, because we have people from different locations, and all of you who are looking for presentations, we'll be more than happy to give you maybe a detailed working also of the ROI, which many of you have requested us. And we might also align one day in the coming week where we can line up your discussion or call with Dr. Kulkarni with respect to the entire business model and the location which you want to take it up for. And we've also put a hotline number in the chat, friends. If you want to reach out to us, so you need to reach on that link on the email or on the hotline number that we have put, and we'll pick up your interest as per the location, and we'll bring it to Dr. Kulkarni in the coming week. So, Dr. Kulkarni, any date that you think you are available and we can bring these interested prospects to you?
I think most of the Tuesdays and Fridays I'm relatively free. So
Friday.
maybe we can touch on one of those days in the next or coming few weeks.
Okay, so we can block Friday. I think what we'll do in the next 3 to 4 days time, we'll filter the inquiries, and Friday being 4th of December. So we can block 4th December as a day where we bring in these prospects to you.
We can do it in the second half. Yeah.
All right, second half preferably. Great. Great, Doctor. And before we close, Doctor, just maybe a message from you to all the audience who's listening live, as well as people who are participating on this webinar.
Yeah, I would just like to say that keep the patient in mind if you are going for our franchisee, because it is all about going to be giving good and compassionate and high quality care for our patients. As I said, the medical profession, apart from giving you financial satisfaction, is also going to give you a lot of emotional satisfaction. So if you are that kind, I think go for it. And as I said, we are there to support you with all our experience and expertise. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. It was indeed a very, very good presentation, and you taking valuable time and sharing an opportunity with us. We really appreciate that, and we look forward for working with you to really build your healthcare practice much more expanded in different cities. More than that, I think taking good healthcare to a lot of other places. So thank you very much. Really appreciate, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Achna.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kulkarni, for joining in today. Our best wishes with you, and congratulations to the work you are doing to mankind and for each one of us. We would like to thank our panel member Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am. Last but not the least, all the dear participants who have joined us today, we really appreciate your participation. You can connect with us at our business hotline number, which is 97176-83838. That's the number where you can give your suggestions, your feedback, your queries. Do share your detailed profile, your location, so that we can help you in providing the right kind of the solution. We are organizing Discovery Day, where you have a chance to interact one-to-one with Dr. Kulkarni on Friday. At the same business hotline number, you can book your slot with us. Our regional team member would definitely be in touch with you. You can connect and get in touch with Franchise India team at our different social handles, information on your screen. If you want to rewatch this particular webinar and all the previously done webinar, that's available on the Facebook page of Franchise India Brands Limited. That's the site you can go under video section and you can watch them. You can also connect with management team of Franchise India at their respective LinkedIn IDs. That's the information on your screen. And tomorrow, for brand of the day, we are inviting you to witness this particular brand, the brand which provides all integrated design, supply, installation services. And we are inviting you tomorrow at sharp 12 p.m. to understand the journey of Himalayan acoustic. That's the brand we are providing information tomorrow. They are already into business from last 13 years. They enjoy that kind of a legacy. So please do not miss this chance. Join us tomorrow, where the team, the brand is coming and directly digitally interacting with you. Have a good day. Please take good care of yourself and your health. Thank you so much.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Kulkarni.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye, sir. Bye.
Bye-bye.